the chances of employers wanting to pay for your visa is a lot less. So no, I wasn't legally working there. So I was kind of doing like holiday visas like every 3 months or whatever. And then I graduated to a business visa with another company. So I was really upfront with the owners and I said, I'm trying to open my own brand. So I'll work here for a couple of months. And if you're okay with that, then we can move forward. And then I started Baked from Home for 3 years. And then, then I opened this shop. If you think about the quality of life that you get, that you will not get in Singapore, then I've definitely made an advantage out of it. But yeah, like if I was to think about the opportunities, I feel like maybe employers might look at my 10-year gap in Vietnam as a bit of a disadvantage, or like perhaps might not want to employ me because of that.
Welcome back to Chills with TFC. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and today I'm on holiday by right.
But by left.
But by left, I couldn't help myself. Like I needed a good story, and we dug around. And we asked around, and we're in Hanoi, and I'm very happy to be here with Sheereen. Yes. So yes, maybe for our audience that don't know you yet, could you introduce yourself?
Hello, it's Sheereen. I'm from Singapore. Xin chào, em tên là Sheereen. Em từ Singapore.
Serious? So you can speak fluent, right?
Well, I mean like fluent to get by, but if you put me in a situation outside of the F&B and then you talk to me like really fast, I'm like...
Fluent to run the best bakery in town lah.
That is subjective, but I mean...
what's up, what?
I try my best.
But from what we gathered, your bakery won an award.
Yeah.
Or is it more than one?
Yeah, it was, I think it was like so I think the platform is like We're in Hanoi, and they basically got all the people to vote for their best bakery or like for their best, cafe or restaurants, whatever, those kind of stuff. So I guess we won. I'm very grateful for all the people that voted for us, yes. All the fans.
All the residents of Westlake.
all the sugar addicts. Thank you for fueling my business.
Singaporean here, running crazy bakes, like all the American style, very thick and rich kind of stuff. But how did you end up here? Like, how did you end up in this? How did you end up here? There's so many questions to ask, right?
Sometimes I ask myself the same, and I'm like, what did I do?
Okay, maybe we try this, right? Why did you leave Singapore first? Or maybe what were you doing in Singapore
was
10 years ago, right?
Yeah, that was like 10 years ago. So I was still working in the industry, mostly in the kitchen and pastry, but also teaching a lot of it. So I was working with a company that also kind of like supplied like external school programs to like private schools or public schools. So I just go in and I will do easy baking course or easy decorating course, those kind of things.
Before Skills Future was a thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it was like right before Skills Future blew up, and I think I hosted one class and it was like Skills Future class. But yeah, I was like, Skills Future, never heard of it before.
Yeah, exactly. Later,
yeah, but
it's becoming a big thing.
Yeah, I just teach only lah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you were kind of already like in the industry, you were kind of already doing your stuff.
I've always been in F&B or service.
Then why don't you set up your own stuff there?
I guess I was quite young. So I actually arrived to Hanoi when I was 20, turning 21.
Siao, this Zabo is crazy.
I know,
right?
And that's what my mum said. This Zabo
is like,
I know.
Mom, I'm done.
Yeah.
Singapore is too much. I'm going.
I took my 2 cats and I came to Hanoi.
Wait, you took your 2 cats?
My mum was like, this woman. Like,
this woman is crazy. Okay. But shout out to Mom. Hello.
Yeah,
yes.
Shout out to Mum for the patience. And Dad as well. My dad is like, oh my God. I was the biggest bane of their... I probably still am, the biggest bane of their lives.
Okay. There's such a story here.
Yeah, but so I mean, I always wanted to explore something new. I think the opportunity kind of aligned when my ex-boyfriend, now husband, we were doing like long distance and we were doing it for almost 2 years. He was in Hong Kong and then I was in Singapore, but we met in Singapore.
And you just recently married?
Yeah.
So it's been a 12-year running thing?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like 10, 11. So we met in Singapore, and then 2 weeks later, he moved to Hong Kong. So he already accepted a job offer, and I was like, okay, whatever, let's see how we go. And then we continued the relationship, and then he already lived here before, so he had like a bit of a base. He had a marketing company, still has that company until today. So he wanted to move back to Hanoi to revisit and build his company again. So I decided, okay, well, I just join you and see how we go. It wasn't, I guess the idea was that I wanted to leave Singapore and see what's beyond, but I didn't choose Hanoi. That was kind of already chosen for me. So upon arriving here, it was a little bit of a shock because, you know, like when you're in Singapore, it's so systematic, right? Like everything is being
There's a system here too. It's a different system.
It's a different unspoken system, you know. You don't have like
you must
really...
come here and see for yourself,
Exactly,
guys. It's really very hard to elaborate. Yeah.
There is no terribly graphic designs telling you where to go, what to do, you know, like back down Benny or stand up Stacy, you know, you don't have that kind of thing.
It's been 10 years, back down Benny has been 10 years.
There was probably some version of it.
Yes.
You know,
oh my goodness.
So, you know, there's none of all of that. So you kind of have to figure it out on your own. And it can get quite frustrating, I guess, coming from a different culture. And initially I was like, you know, really, I didn't know how to deal with the changes. But I think at this point, I prefer the culture here than in Singapore. And it's not something that's like, it's not something that's easy to understand or love or appreciate. But like, when you let your guard down, when you let your expectations go, the things that you realize about a new culture is like really nice. And it's so like, you see the people on the surface in Hanoi, they look really cold, but actually the vibe is like very kampong spirit, you know? Like, so if you ran out of petrol in the middle of the road, someone will help you and they don't expect anything. They're just like, oh yeah, let's go to the petrol station. I push you, you know, that kind of thing. And they just like, okay, bye. Like nothing, you know, and then you thank them and they're like, why you, like, don't be weird, you know, like don't thank me or whatever. So yeah, I really like that about the Vietnamese people in general.
So much to unpack, right?
So much to unpack.
But that is all in retrospect, right?
Yeah.
So, but you see, like, start of the recording, Sheereen say, right, oh, in Hanoi at this time of the year, which is about December, you must dress for 3 weathers. And I think the sun already show you that, you know.
Yeah. So he's dressing for winter, I'm dressing for summer.
So it's okay.
So
enjoy.
If you see a little bit glistening effect,
you know, like
don't worry.
If my post-producer thing is overexposed. Sorry, there's nothing I can do. Welcome to Hanoi. Okay, so for all of you, bear with us. The story is great. So all this in retrospect, right? But you said something like, you know, you wanted to go already, right? So why like leave Singapore? Because I also left Singapore. So I stayed in KL for many years.
Oh, nice.
Yes. But some people say KL is not too far. So okay, I can kind of see the semblance of it, you know, but this is, you know, a much bigger step, especially at 21, right?
Yeah, I think to be honest, like I don't really have like a very intellectual answer for that.
No, you don't need to.
Like,
I want your answer.
It's more like I was 20 and I was young and dumb and I wasn't really considering much. I just knew that I was bored. So I just like, okay, my boyfriend is there. Okay, you know what? Like nothing for me here. I didn't feel like I fit in Singapore, you know. I didn't know what I wanted to do in terms of like my career and stuff like that. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to try and see what's out there. And I'm really grateful for that move because without putting myself outside of my comfort zone, I don't think that I would have developed my individuality and perhaps professionally as well, as much as I have.
Okay. Yeah. And this didn't happen immediately anyway.
No,
right?
it didn't.
I think we did a bit of research on her. You know, read it on the Vietnam Times. It did say a little bit about like when you came here originally, you wanted to like teach English and all that, right? So how did that, you know, I left Singapore young and dumb with 2 cats, right? Come here, find my boyfriend. And then how did that, you know, whole process become this?
So right before I left Singapore, I actually did like I took a certificate in teaching English. Because like before I moved here, I obviously visited first. I visited Hanoi before I moved. And a lot of my friends or my partner's friends or the people that I met along my trip when I was visiting were saying how easy it was to get an English teaching job. So I was like, okay, cool. So if anything, I can fall back on that. So I I went to do my teaching English course, and I came here and I applied for jobs. And honestly, it was brutal. Like nobody wanted to hire a Singaporean. You know, I mean, the places that did offer me a job was like really far out, and then they were not paying market rate. So it was quite disheartening. It was probably my first exposure to, you know, like racial
Because you're not white.
biasness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say that, but we all kind of know,
because I was in China. I also tried the same thing. So I considered. So I stayed in Xi'an, which is like a second tier city in the middle of China, right?
Yes.
And then I tried it, and then they were. This one can say like, you want cancel me, right? So I can say. So I was at the language center, right? And then I was like, oh yeah, you know, just trying to figure out what's around. And then understand the teachers and all that. And then there were like Italians and all these like Russians trying to teach. Hey, English got an accent, you know. I was like, my English is so much better than yours. Get your shit together. But that is I think one of the impactful moment of my life to recognize that, you know, it's not just about how good you are. You know?
Exactly. It's the image as well.
The perception, you know, as brutal as the skin color, because the agency or the language center can't sell you at a premium.
Exactly. Yeah. They cannot justify why a Chinese person is teaching a Chinese person
exactly.
English.
So when they can't sell you at a premium, they don't take you on. Right? And it's so annoying.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because actually, if anything, we provide more of an advantage to learning English because we also speak other languages. So we can understand from, you know, a second language perspective, like, you know, okay, this is where I'm struggling to understand it. So I found it a little bit difficult in that sense to, you know.
No, it's true because I... Sorry, I become my story, right?
I want to hear it as well.
Because I felt that, right? You know, because I could speak proper English or proper enough, right? I mean, good enough. And I could also speak fluent Mandarin. Teaching in China, I could have like an advantage, you know, like I can translate in a nuanced fashion what this means. When do you use this? You know, like people don't speak like that. You know, it's not just about the books, right? And then like I cannot cancel lah. No, I mean, not gonna cancel. Like I didn't get adopted because, you know, of how I look. So that was quite annoying. So
Wouldn't you say that opened another avenue? It forced you to like explore beyond what was easy.
Of course,
you know,
it shut that door. Open avenue is very positive, right?
Like, you gotta find another door.
We gotta find another way out, guys. This shit doesn't work, you know. All the kind of Facebook group. I think back then it was Facebook group, right? A lot of a lot of these Facebook groups like teach English in Vietnam, teach English in Japan, teach English wherever.
And then the keyword is native English speaker.
Yes.
You know what that means?
Yes, native. Oh my god, Italians don't speak English as a native. Okay.
Technically, I am native English speaker.
Technically, right?
Because I know, right? But like, it's like my mom is Chinese and my dad's Malay. So at home, like, we didn't speak either. Like, if I went to my grandmother's, like my dad's mom, we speak Malay. And then if I went to my popo house, then we would speak like Mandarin or Cantonese. So at home, we spoke English. So like, technically, like by definition, I am a native English speaker. I
speak it from young, right?
Exactly.
Like, spoke it from young, right? But no.
Anyway, that's not what
Never
native
mind.
English
I think
speaker
that's just
means.
This is us busting the bubble for all of you, right?
So whoever from Singapore want to come here and teach English, you better have a backup plan.
Yeah, better think again.
You better have like a business plan or something
but
like that.
But don't start a bakery.
Yeah.
Don't compete with me, right? You know, I've been doing this thing of going around talking to Singaporeans, right? Because I feel like more and more Singaporeans are exploring what's out there. You know, and not necessarily because like they're not doing well where they are. But sometimes it's like they want to explore a different way of life, a different fit. And then Singapore has a relatively like square fit, right? You know, I mean, like I would say it has become better over the past 10 years. You know, that you can do more things, like different styles, but the baseline is still there, right? It's a port city, you know, it's structured in a certain way. So it is what it is, right? You kind of can't totally, you know, blame the land. So people are exploring what's out there, you know, and I think that's the fun part of meeting fellow Singaporeans that are doing well outside of Singapore.
Yeah, I think it's really eye-opening because I do think that when Singaporeans have it quite easy. I think that some of the reason why Singapore is so successful is because everything is so structured and everything has a system, you know. But the downside of that is that like nobody really, it doesn't really encourage people to use critical thinking as much perhaps, and the sense of the world that they have is like very limited, I feel. And also some people can get quite entitled, especially like the mid to older generations, they can get like a little bit like, in Singapore it's like
You're
actually,
opening a shit ton of worms.
I know, yes,
there.
sorry.
It's like all the can opening today. It's like
And this
too
is
long
the final
never talk.
podcast of
The financial coconut. Thank you. Thank you. I have rebates in Hanoi. I start a tea house next door.
No, but I do think that like, you get a bit spoiled. Like, when you're in Singapore for too long, you don't understand the world, and then your worldviews are quite conservative. So I think that a lot of younger people who want to explore beyond that, and I'm also really grateful that I did that as well, because I'm not saying that I've seen the world, but like I've definitely feel like my perspective has broadened since being here. I think my adaptability, my understanding of different cultures, I definitely learned a lot more about patience as well. I think when I first arrived here, there was like a specific way that I wanted things to be, whether it was in life or whether it was in personal. I feel like you're relating to this like on a really hard level.
My KL friends were that, don't be a Singaporean, chill bro.
Just relax.
Just relax.
Whatever expectations you have, just let them go and then see what comes and then adapt accordingly without reacting first, So like that is the one thing, like that applies to every aspect of life, whether within business, whether within personal. Yeah, so that's the biggest takeaway I think that I will always take with me wherever I go, whether it's back to Singapore, whether it's to another country, whether it's to visit or to live, whatever,
And I think like when you live outside Singapore for a while, you kind of appreciate Singapore more. For what it is, right? You don't kind of like, romanticize it. You're just like, okay, there are these things that are great, but there are these many things that, not so good.
The analogy that I always tell people is like, for example, and maybe this is not true anymore because I haven't lived in Singapore, so sorry if this is not accurate, but like if you go anywhere in Hanoi and you're like, can I get some mayonnaise? And then they'll be like, okay. They bring you the whole bottle. You get what I mean? They put the whole bottle on the table. You go to Singapore, you go to a nice restaurant, you're like, can I get some mayonnaise? They're like, let me check my manager. Then they will like come back and then be like, 150 extra. And then you're like, okay, it's like here is just like, it's like, like super generous, don't really even think about it, and it's not really it's just not really a big issue, whereas Singapore is very like, that's the analogy I would say about Singapore. It's like Singapore is very like, if it's out of the script, it's like, oh my God, what is the answer here? What should I do? Whereas like in Vietnam, it's just like, whatever, we'll figure it out, the consequences after, Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but
Hence recognizing the beauty for what it is, right?
Exactly.
Okay, great. Woo. This will be my last episode.
Shit, sorry.
Woo. But, okay, so coming here, no English teaching because it doesn't work. How did that whole thing end up with this?
So I ended up working for a company as a pastry chef. The company doesn't exist anymore. But I was working there for about 6 to 8 months and then it folded. And then I worked part-time.
Is it like a proper work? Like got visa, got everything.
At that point, no. So like at that point, it was still a little bit loose. Vietnam's definitely gotten a lot tighter after COVID.
Oh, really? So you mean previously?
Previously, it was like if you wanted to get like, even with English teaching jobs, to give you a visa, like it was quite like a fancy job. You get what I mean? It was like you either worked with like an international school or like a proper school, but
that's
like
not English teaching.
No, I know,
that's
but
proper
like
educator,
that's
different
educator,
yes.
But like if you work in like tuition centers or something, like if you were to get a visa, that would be like a really good tuition center to work at. But for me, it was like working in F&B. The chances of people like employers wanting to pay for your visa is a lot less. So no, I wasn't legally working there. So I was kind of doing like holiday visas like every 3 months or whatever. And then I graduated to a business visa with another company that I worked for a temporary amount of time for. I was honest with them after my first job in Vietnam and the company folded. I needed something quite quickly. So I decided to work in a Mexican restaurant for a few months, but I was really upfront with the owners and I said, hot kitchens are not my thing. I'm trying to open my own brand. So I'll work here for a couple of months. And if you okay with that, then we can move forward. And yeah, they were okay with that. And me and the owners are still friends to this day. And then after that, I left. And then I started Baked from Home for 3 years. And then I decided that, okay, I don't know when I'm going to leave Vietnam, but if I do leave Vietnam, I would quite like to leave it with something, like something here, like as like a little mark that I was there, and I did something good, So yeah, then I opened this shop. I think I signed the lease in 2021.
That's COVID.
Yeah.
That's still height of COVID.
Yeah. But like COVID in Vietnam is like different from COVID all over the world.
Can you elaborate?
Oh my God. So it was a journey, right? So like the first couple of like strains or whatever, Vietnam was super on it. So actually Vietnam was one of the, don't quote me, actually I don't know whether this is true or not, but I think it is. But it was one of the first countries that was declared SARS free when SARS broke out.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
So the way that they handled epidemics and stuff is quite good. When the first few strains of COVID came around, they handled it really well. They closed the country, and the country was relatively really, really low in COVID numbers. So all the people were just like enjoying. Like everyone was just going to all these resorts all around Vietnam that were like at half price, I stayed in this like private pool, like 6-star resort for like no money, like basically like nothing. And yeah, we were just living on life. And then I think it was like, what was the third or the fourth one? Delta or something. It hit and then like, it exploded in Vietnam. And that was when it got really, really tough. And actually right before that happened, I put down a year's rent for this place. And then we went into lockdown for 2 months. And lockdown is not like in Singapore, lockdown you can call, hello, Grab driver, like, can you deliver my McDonald's or whatever, Lockdown here was no deliveries. You were given 2 to 3 coupons for 1 week, and that coupon you use to go to the market or supermarket. You are not allowed to go to a different district. So I used to live just across the main road on Auca. And from Auca, you cannot come to this area. So I could not visit my shop at all. I could not do any work from inside, even though I was on my own. So none of those things can happen. Even like, so one day I went out to the supermarket and then I forgot to buy rice. I forgot to buy rice. And then I came back home. I didn't buy rice. I went outside again and then they had like these like checkpoints, right? And the checkpoints are meant by, I guess in Singapore you would call them the ambassadors.
Social distancing ambassador.
Yeah.
Shout out to all of you. Yeah.
So they had the equivalent of those, like manning the little streets and stuff to make sure people were not going out unnecessarily. They were also on a power trip lah. So they were like, I already saw you go out 2 times today. You don't need to go out. This is not essential trip. I'm like, but I forget to buy rice. I cannot have rice at home. Please let me go. And then they're like, okay. You better come back soon. And I'm like, okay. At that point, my husband was not in Vietnam. He was in the UK. So I was just on my own. So yeah, that was a bit of a scary time, like putting 1 year's rent, being at home on my own. So during that time, there was nothing to do except for me to be at home and just focus on, like things like working on the business plan, refining recipes. And that was actually when I developed the recipe for the chocolate chip cookies that we are known for today. So I basically was just like doom scrolling or like watching on YouTube all of these cookies. And at that time, Vietnam, they don't do thick soft cookies. They like thin, biscuity kind of cookies, which are nice. But I saw this picture and videos about this bakery in New York called Levain Bakery, and they were the ones who actually coined the term NYC cookie from their cookie. And their cookies are always chunky and like super gooey on the inside. And I was like, oh, that looks really good. So whatever leftover ingredients that I had at home that I could not use to bake for people, I decided to test this cookie. I tested a couple of versions, and it was kind of like, it evolved from an old cookie recipe that I had, and then I just play with techniques, play with different ways of baking, and ta-da, we have like this cookie now. And yeah, like it's honestly our bread and butter. I intended for the cupcakes to be like the center show, but
who cares about cupcakes?
Like now everyone's just like, we got a lot of people who are like, oh, we're gonna fly back home. Can you pack it in like a way that's like, like with plastic and like like bubble wrap or whatever, so that they can take it home. So we get
Can
a lot
you?
of customers. Yeah. So we now
Later
every
we
time
get some.
we got like special packaging now for like the people who want to take it home and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So maybe we rewind back a little bit on that, like work from home type of energy, right? Like you're doing this business at home. Like how did that look like?
So back then I was just focusing mostly on like custom cakes, so like for birthdays and things like that, or corporate events. So I was working with schools, or I was working with companies that had like anniversaries and things like that.
So it's not too strict.
No,
Because it's
it
not
wasn't
retail.
at that time. I wouldn't say that you would be able to do that now.
Oh,
Yeah,
things
so
have changed.
things have evolved very fast. Like even within the year, it's like evolved so quickly. But yeah, back then it was a little bit loose. So I was just like, it was all pre-order. So I wasn't like, there wasn't anything that was like ready
no
that I can
inventory,
send
no
on Grab.
nothing.
Yeah. So it was just more like, okay, I've got a birthday coming up next week. Okay, then I'll do everything. But yeah, I think working from home, it was nice, but it was also like, because it was your home, you just end up working till like 3 a.m. in the morning. There's like no boundary.
You're not alone. I'm sure everybody goes through that.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, the upsides are like no rent, no staff, whatever.
Okay. So over here, when you set up this place, it has to be a registered entity,
Yes,
right? I mean, it's a
yeah.
shop front. Some things got to be regulated, right? So how does this whole setup process look
So
like?
there
then?
are a few different options if you are a foreigner looking to open a business in Vietnam. I can't tell you exactly, what the rules are, but I know that there are different. There's a foreign business license, and then there's like a Vietnamese joint license and things like that. Best to speak to someone that specializes in setting up. But for me, I just did a Vietnamese company, and then from there I was able to provide myself with a visa. A work permit.
So
and
you
stuff.
have a partner, like a business partner of sort lah.
Yeah, like a legal partner.
Okay,
Yeah. So that's the easiest way for me. Yeah, because the tax rule will adapt according to your business license as well.
Okay, fair. So then how did that building this whole business up? How did that look like? Right?
It's very DIY, and I think it's like completely DIY. I mean, it was because like during COVID, right? It was like I don't know what the future was gonna be like. I'm doing this pretty much on my own. I don't have like big investors or anything like that. So I was really worried about the longevity of the business and like whether things will get worse. Because I when I put 1 year's rent down, I was like, okay, this is the end of it. It's gonna get better from here. Ha! God was like, surprise!
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna take it easy. Gonna like put very minimal investment in. So it wasn't that much that I invested into the place.
I love that.
But you know what? Like, I was on my own. I wasn't willing to take a huge risk. So I just built everything up from scratch, and so and just slow and steady, basically.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So and like how a lot of small businesses in Singapore struggle with like rent, like labor, all these, right?
Yeah.
How's it like here?
You have to have a good relationship with your landlord, because a lot of the times here, thankfully it's not happened in my case, but sometimes people get kicked out of their venues even though they have signed a contract. It could be anything because the landlord saw that you are a profitable business and wants to recreate it for himself, or it could be because they decided to sell the house entirely. So
all sorts of
all sorts, and it's like the contract is non-bindable here. It's bindable, but it's also not bindable to some extent. But I feel really bad for like the F&B businesses in Singapore, because they don't really like rent control. I guess it's not really a thing in Singapore. Like it's a thing in the US, especially in New York, right?
Is it
like,
a thing here?
No, it's not a thing here.
Right?
But like if you have a good relationship with your landlord and you trust that your landlord will not screw you over, which I do with my landlord, because he's also like, he runs like a proper company, then you are in good hands, and I pay quite good rent here. Yeah, it's comfortable. So I'm pretty assured that I will be okay. Like there might be an increase, with every year, of course, you should expect it to increase, but so far for the last 4 years it hasn't.
Okay. And for your team, you've quite a team going.
I've got a team going. Actually, like if I'm being completely honest, like for our bakery, our staff cost is actually quite high at the moment. I'm looking to lower it, not in terms of like the salaries of the people that I'm paying, but in terms of like how do I make things more effective so that I can reduce the staff labor, because I think we're doing a lot of things like custom cakes. We're still doing custom cakes, which means like special decorations decorations and things, cupcakes, cookies. We're doing all sorts of product in a very small kitchen. So our staff spends are quite high at the moment, but this in terms of salary, it's a fair wage. It's lower compared to Singapore. Everything is lower compared to Singapore, but it's still,
it's about relative, right? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But yeah, we pay fairly.
But you would say the numbers make sense, lah. Like it can add up, and it's okay. It's great. You can live a life.
I don't make as much as I would in Singapore.
Like working a job in Singapore,
yeah, exactly,
right?
for sure. But I'm happy here. My husband and I live a very comfortable life. We're not lavish, but if we wanted to go out on date night or something, it's not really something that we have to check bank balance a little bit. We just okay lah, we go, and then it's it's a decent amount of money. We have our 2 cats, they're happy. They have a little outdoor area in our apartment, and yeah, so it's comfortable. We have been considering the option of maybe moving back home, but housing is one of the biggest things that are holding us back from it, because of course we will have to buy or rent a HDB, and I mean compared to the apartment that we have right now that we pay maybe I think it's $1,000.
Can you describe your apartment?
No, it's just a one bedroom, but it has
how would you describe your quality of life here then? Because you're showing me this it can go back lah, but a bit sian lah. A lot of things I don't really want. So what in your head, right? What is this thing shaping out? What is the trade-off?
Okay, my friend will call me and be like, hey, want to go dinner? And then okay, let's go dinner. Or want to check out this new restaurant? Okay, we check out this new restaurant. And it's not oh, is this restaurant really fancy? Or is it low-key? Or whatever. We don't have to be too worried about the details, when we go grocery shopping, we can buy the more expensive Parmesan, for example, without worrying too much about the bill or whatever. Or if we go out late, we can get a cab, and it's not issue. It's less than $5 or whatever, So I think it's just small luxuries like that we probably don't get in Singapore. Then we go and visit Singapore, and then we have the same kind of mindset when it comes to spending, and then we're
yeah.
That's 200, Just the freedom to be able to just go anywhere, and also on holidays as well. We'd be able to just drive up 2 hours, 3 hours somewhere.
How much would you say you spend a month here then to kind of recreate your quality of life?
I would say that maybe about $2,000.
Sing.
Yeah, and that kind of covers our utilities and, the food that we eat. Again, we're not lavish. We cook a lot at home. We don't really go out a lot, but when we do go out, it's we don't have to worry about it.
But all in two is still pretty affordable.
It's quite affordable. Yeah.
And I mean, not everybody got to come here and start a bakery, right? That's why there's a whole digital nomad thing. You make your online money, or you invest in the markets or whatever. I mean, it's a thing, right? And that's why I think you see a lot of foreigners, here, and it's I think based on what you've said, the numbers allow it. Yeah, it adds up. Yeah,
it's comfortable. I do recognize the privilege that we have coming from outside of the country to Vietnam to be able to live a good life. I don't want to position myself as come to Vietnam because it's so much cheaper living, because it's a little bit tone deaf. We're obviously much privileged than the people who from the countryside, or actually Hanoi, and some of them are actually quite rich, but I don't want to encourage people to come here to exploit the cheap way of living, because I think sometimes what grates me is that people come here and do that, and that's fine, but they don't actually put in effort into getting to know the culture that they're living in, but they get frustrated about things that are not in my country, that kind of thing. And that
it should be like that.
Yes, exactly. And that kind of grates
me. Why can't they do it this way? It's you're not paying a premium.
In your country, you can't live like this. In your country, you can't live like this. So you have to, give credit where it's due. And so I think we do live a very comfortable life, and we recognize the privilege that we have to be able to do that. But at the same time, I don't want to be oh my God, expect tourism board, come live here.
Great.
Because it does have its challenges as well.
Okay. So 10 years on, right? You're now in your 30s. You're kind of have a different frame of mind, what is next then? Like, where do you see yourself? Because you did say a little bit about exploring going back, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, where are you in this?
So I guess my husband and we're kind of in limbo at the moment. We haven't really made a decision yet.
30 is like that one. 30
yeah,
always
I know.
limbo one.
Tell me about it. When does it stop?
Yes.
It's a question.
40s, I think. Then when you're at 40s, right, then we'll do another
It's like,
podcast.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
50s,
yeah,
it's going to stop in our 50s.
So we're just kind of exploring all possibilities because we've been here for so long. It's comfortable, but I think the downside of that is that maybe too comfortable. I mean, a lot of the friends that I know that live here from foreign countries, they kind of feel like this is not really real life on some level. Because it's like, you kind of feel like you're cheating the system a little bit, like you're not really like in your home country, building your CPF, buying a house, doing the normal things that everyone back
But
home,
you can
all
do
your
it
friends,
here, right?
What, with property in Vietnam?
Like, can't you like settle in and build a life here and
but
buy a house and do that whole bit, like it doesn't sound like you're thinking
I think
about
you can, but I don't think we either want to do it in our home countries. There's like an element of like it not feeling really real when it's not in your home country. So like I think we're trying to either like set up a base in UK or in Singapore.
Interesting.
So I
10
don't know.
years in and you still don't think this is your home country. And you run a successful bakery here, you know everyone here, you've already built a life, you did COVID here.
Yeah, I know.
Everything, plus COVID, like, and you don't feel like, like this is my home.
It's definitely home on some level, but I think, like there was a bit of a family tragedy that happened for me like a year ago. So I'm hoping to spend more time with my family, but also, the opportunities that I get here, I will not get in Singapore. And the opportunities that my husband gets here, like we might not be able, well, actually, no, that's a lie. He's super talented. He'll survive anywhere he goes. Me, not so much.
You survived what? Hey, you thrived. Come on, right? Like you gotta give yourself the credit.
Yeah, but it will always be home on some level. But I think home, at the end of the day, is like where your family are at, Like, so for my husband, that will be in the UK. For me, it will be in Singapore. So we're trying to find a base outside. But also because we've had such great times here, I don't want us to just feel comfortable and just settle here. I'm still quite young. I want to explore other places too. I want to maybe live in a country that also doesn't speak English, but also not Vietnamese, somewhere else that I can learn a language, learn a different culture. So yeah, I would quite like to explore somewhere else. But Hanoi and Vietnam will always hold a special place in my heart, I think. Especially like after COVID, I feel like we've bonded on like a new level.
Yeah. The power trip is amazing.
It's so funny, like the whole process of like getting like vaccination and stuff. I mean, I know like 4 years on, everyone's bored of talking about COVID, but like I want to share my experience of like doing it in Vietnam, right? So it's like we were quite slow on all the vaccination because of the low COVID numbers. But then suddenly it exploded. So like the government had to like panic, like vaccinate everyone. So obviously with like the vaccinations, there will be some small percentage of downsides, right? Or like the people that it affects. But like because it was all happening at one go, those effects were like being broadcasted quite a lot. So like someone in hospital, someone had a bad reaction. All of these like scary news that was happening, and I was alone at home with my 2 cats again, no one to talk to, and I was like reading this news like, oh, this is. And then it's like, some people had like preferences. Okay, I want Pfizer, I want AstraZeneca or whatever. My preference was Moderna, but I mean, and then so here you won't know when you're going to get vaccinated until the police will send you a letter. So the police sent my landlords a letter, and then they gave it to me, and then it was like the next day I had to get vaccinated, and I was like panicking, and I like called my parents. I was like, I got a letter to get vaccinated, but I'm very scared. Don't scared. Everyone takes this vaccination. Okay. Speak to your dad. And my dad's like, why are you scared? I was like, I'm scared I die, then nobody look after the cats. And then he's like, look, if you die, you die.
Hey, Dad,
yeah. Actually, to be honest, like that made me feel so much better. I was like, yeah, actually, you're right. Like if I die, I don't need to worry already. So it's like fair point. So after that, I felt better. So I went for the vaccination, and it was like in a primary school, and you had no idea what was going on. Everything was in Vietnamese. They just like shove you places here and there, like go there. go there. Then you just follow, then you just sit down, jab you, then go home. So yeah, that was my vaccination experience. I confused most of it.
So this is a question that I've asked some of our friends in Bangkok, right? So we also did another episode in Bangkok. Is it going to be very hard for you to go back by virtue that you're making dong, right? Like they are making their money in baht, right? So like, you live a great life here, but you convert back, right? It's nothing, right? And then it's kind of like you step out of that A game in that sense.
Yes.
And then you did so well in another place, and now is it gonna be harder to go back? Like financially, you did your sums,
I get what you mean. I think there's definitely an element of that, but like also if you frame it in that sense, then yes, you are making a lot less money and you are disadvantaged in a way. But like if you think about the
because
quality,
that's what a lot of Singaporeans think, Yeah.
But if you think about the quality of life that you get that you will not get in Singapore, then I've definitely made an advantage out of it. That being said, I think there are other elements that are kind of like around that area where it's like, in terms of career, like I feel like if I was to apply for a job in Singapore, people would look at my 10-year gap in Vietnam as a bit of a disadvantage, or maybe they would
what
see
this
it as
girl
like,
is doing,
like
10
why
years?
Vietnam? So that I'm worried about. I'm not worried about necessarily like converting my money back into Singapore dollars. Like I think that like I've made my money back in terms of the life that I had here, but yeah, like if I was to think about the opportunities, I feel like maybe employers might look at my 10-year gap in Vietnam as a bit of a disadvantage, or like perhaps might not want to employ me because of that. Even though, like I've run my own business and done everything, I just feel a little bit insecure about that. I feel like if I was to go back, but yeah, money, in terms of money wise, I feel like, yeah, I definitely will do it again, 100%. Like even if you convert it to Singapore dollars, and yeah, it would be a lot less, but it is what it is. But I've had a really comfortable life here, so
great. Okay, maybe a little bit more about like where do you plan to bring the business in closing? Just let you plug lah. Like I'm looking for investors to expand to 50 outlets all around Vietnam.
Yeah, actually,
something like that.
Yeah, so I need help. Please help me.
Hey, that's not a good pitch lah, girl. It's like,
No, it's
we are
like-
doing great, and we want to.
I think it's, like initially when it was a small business, right? Like it was easy to manage. And now that it's like, it's still a small business, but it's like there are so many elements that I'm taking care of, and I don't have partners. And I guess the grass is always greener on the other side, because some people will look at me and go, oh, you don't have partners, that's really good. And but for me, it's like, I want someone to be able to, I want to learn from other people too. Like everything that baked is today comes from my own brains, and like there's only so much in it. It's not a lot, like I need another brain to kind of like help me grow. So I'm looking hopefully for partners to be able to help me to scale up, but to also manage other aspects of it, whether it's like, to help the efficiency of the operations.
That sounds like a Singaporean, efficiency of operation equals Singaporean, right? Yeah. Another one can come. Hanoi welcomes you.
Yeah, but I think I would hopefully like to partner up with someone who's quite in touch with the local
market.
culture.
Okay.
Because I'm always very protective of my team because I have been suggested like, okay, do you want any interns from Singapore and stuff? I'm always like, no, because I know the mindset that comes with entering a country that is deemed like less than Singapore sometimes, like the attitude that you have. But like you really have to like humble yourself. Just because it doesn't look like it's much, like compared to Singapore, doesn't mean it's not as successful or not as like effective, in terms of like the internal systems and the culture and everything, blah, blah, blah.
She's not saying she don't want intern from Singapore. She's just saying she don't want that type of intern.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So if you're not that type,
I don't
and you
want those kind of like mommy's boy, you never do laundry before and then come here and then
it's like, okay, okay,
Sorry,
yes.
yeah,
But you get the idea, yeah. Oh, but it's open, yes.
Yeah, but I think it's important that whoever I work with is quite in touch with like the way things work in Vietnam, and to also help like, to contribute to the business and stuff in ways that I'm probably hit my threshold for. But I would like to grow baked. I would like to grow it into a few more outlets at least, and then maybe sell it on eventually, and then just say, okay, this is my souvenir for Vietnam, and I've done it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Awesome. So shout out if you are think they're looking for partners, potential investors, right? Good interns.
Yeah, good interns.
Yeah, all that. Shout out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much for asking about us and everything. Yeah, it was definitely nice to meet a Singaporean in Vietnam.
Yeah, it's fun. And it's in Hanoi, not in Ho Chi Minh. Everyone is in Ho Chi Minh. So if a fellow Singaporean is tuning to this,
Yeah.
and then wondering like, I want to go out there. I want to like see the world, do something different.
Yeah.
Knowing what you know today, like, do you have any last words or advice for them?
Do it. Definitely do it. Do it and drop any expectations, whether like regardless of country, I guess. Just like drop any expectation and just like absorb as much as you can from wherever you are. And I think that you will learn so much more.
Thank you for your time. Yeah, and if they would like to actually connect with you, where is the best place?
Instagram, yeah, I think it's at bakedandfriends.hn. Yeah.
Baked and Friends.
Yeah.
Okay, bakedandfriends.hn. I wish you well.
Thank
All
you.
the best. Thank
and you guys as well. I hope you enjoy your holiday.
It is. Yeah. I'm gonna enjoy my holiday. I'm gonna have a cookie. So yeah.
I feel like the only other time you should take out this mic is if you do karaoke.
You say, no, we're not. Yeah,
Like,
so-
you guys should just chill. Okay?
Yes. Maybe one more in Taipei. I don't know. We'll see. So yes, thank you all for joining us today on Chills with TFT special edition with 3 weather changes, in Hanoi. Yeah. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And if you like what we do, you can go over to the financialcoconut.com to place your email address so that we can route out the algorithm whenever we need to connect with you on an event or something up our sleeves. So yeah, with that, thank you. We'll see you. Bye-bye.